Hawkins, would you please read the last of Matador, Negro, Azucar?
I'll do it right now.
Thank you.
For those who've been following, you'll know that we're now on chapter 19, and the meat is near the bone. What was I doing? Hard to say, just sort of skimming on the surface, I guess. Till the afternoon, I heard the trumpets go off in my head. I was sitting in front of one of Dad's super-fast computers, just noodling around. When I heard the trumpets, well, there wasn't any actual sound, but in my mind I heard the trumpets, the fanfare prelude that they do just before the gates are open and the bullfighters strut across the bull ring to salute the president of the event. I heard the trumpets and saw dollar signs click up in front of my eyes. A bullfight video game. A bullfight video game. I settled back in my seat and took a deep breath. It took an hour for me to think out the program I would have to develop for the game, but it would definitely be a way to feed on my own experience as a matador. I would design a video game that would give every boy, every girl, anybody who ever wanted to be a bullfighter, a matador, an opportunity to do their thing without worrying about being gored. No, I would design being gored into the program too. If you mess up, made the wrong move, then you would be gored. Chester Sr. and Dillian, an old husband and wife team, sat across from each other at the Sunday morning breakfast table, casually reading the Sunday edition of the Chicago Tribune, updating their knowledge of the latest tragedies. Chester, yeah, baby. Stop hiding behind your paper for a minute. Chester Sr. couldn't prevent a slight smile from creasing his lips. God, this woman knows me like a book. Hiding? Who's hiding? You are. You've been hiding since Thursday evening. Hiding what? I don't know. You tell me. All I know is that something is bothering you, and we haven't talked about it. Chester Sr. folded the newspaper section he was reading into a neat square, took a deep breath, and vented. Your son, our son, Chester Simmons, our son is fluffing around on his job. He's not doing his work properly. I've been fortunate to have a couple other people do some stuff he was supposed to have done. If he wasn't my son, I would have fired him a week ago. Have you talked to him about the problem, about what he should be doing? Well, not yet. So what's the problem? Chester is off into that bullfight shit again. Oh my God, no. He's not going back down to Mexico again, is he? I don't know what the hell he's going to do. All I know is this is about a video game. I've seen him working on it. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Dad standing in the door. How long had he been there? Who knows? Chester, it's 6 o'clock. Remember, your mother's fixing spaghetti and frying red snapper for you and Don Disha this evening. Give me a few more minutes with this, Dad. I'll be right with you. I'm sure he was surprised because I was usually the last to arrive and the first to want to leave the Gelman Tech. I had to pull myself away from the mouse and the screen 15 minutes later, but my brain felt like it was on fire. I would be able to repay Maya. Maybe they already had a bullfight video game out there somewhere, but I'd never heard of one. I definitely knew that they didn't have a black bullfighter video game. Where can I sell it? Well, Mexico, Spain, Colombia, Peru would be primary markets. And who knows, maybe even America and Europe. People were always interested in new stuff. If I could get a few top-flight celebrities to endorse the game, if, lots of ifs. Chester, you want another piece of fish? Huh? Louise did that cockeyed look thing in my direction. One of her favorite ways of teasing me, of indicating that I was out to lunch. I said, do you want another piece of fish? Oh no, Mom, I'm full, thanks. What the hell do you say to normal people, when your brain is on fire with an idea? I love the way Dondisha handled me that particular evening. She thanked Mom and Dad for the delicious food, complimented Louise on her good grades, and steered me out to the car like I was an absent-minded old man. By this time, Mom was completely at ease with our domestic setup. She didn't bug me about shacking with Dondisha. She just accepted what was in front of her and let it go at that. I'm sure she expected us to get married sometime in the future, but she wasn't tripping anymore. I couldn't wait to get home to design an outline for my game. In my head, I'd start calling it Matador Negro. Yeah, Matador Negro. Take that, Senor Flores.
Yeah.
The bulls came first. I sat in front of the screen, designing the prototype of every bull I had fought. I would use the circumstances they put me in as the raw material for the videos. Out of the gates, my memory, they charged hard and fast. Yambu, the first bull I'd ever faced in my life as an espontáneo. Bongo, my first bull in the Tijuana bull ring. And Gordita, the fat one. Bigote, the bull I had to kill for the Venezuelan Francisco Torres, Menuto. Rojo, the dull reddish-colored bull in the Acapulco bull ring, followed by Cachuco, fighting with busted ribs in Veracruz, a triumph in Guanajuato, ears and tails from both bulls, Cubano and Justicia in Ensenada, running from one bull ring to another, sometimes sleepy and tired, the festival in Guadalajara, the wonderful bull called Vigilante in Guadalajara. I could create a whole video of him alone. Cha-chow in Tijuana again. I did the whole thing from the beginning to the killing of the bull. I wanted to create the scene and milk the emotions from it. Should I eliminate the picadores? Well, keep that in. That's part of the whole scene. It would be incomplete without the picadores. For the next week, I rushed downtown to Gelman's to do what I had to do with Dad, test the ideas I was working on, and then jump right back to the drawing board at home. Dondisha was there somewhere in the background, a blurred figure who gave me a fresh fruit to nibble on, cups of jasmine tea from time to time. I had to smile listening to her talk to Mom on the phone. Lillian, I don't know what he's working on, but I can tell you this, he's working. No doubt about it, I was working. I felt driven the way I felt when I decided to become a bullfighter. The vision was so clear in my head, I felt like I was hallucinating. After a hot 6 weeks, I was ready to go public. I decided to start off with Dad. Dad, would you come in here a minute? I'd like to show you something. I didn't give him a lot of razzle-dazzle. I just laid the whole program out in front of him and stood back to get his reaction. By this point in time, he knew a little bit about bullfighting from talking with me, doing some reading on his own, and after all, he had created a program that helped to make me a better killer. Dad, what I'm doing basically is building on what you gave me, your program to make me a better matador. I think that information put a little puff in his chest. Who are you aiming this at? I think my primary markets would be in those countries where bullfighting is common. Mexico, Spain, Venezuela, Peru. And then I'm looking at off-brand places like Japan and China. The Japanese, as you well know, love anything having to do with swords. You think they would dig a black matador? We could rearrange the facial features and the color to suit the market. Look at what they did with the Barbie doll over the years. He was doing Veronicas and made Veronicas with the mouse as he asked me questions. He was getting into it. How would you deal with the people who would come out of the woodwork, the ones who would say that you're teaching children how to kill animals? My attorney would argue that there are already war video games on the market that have soldiers gunning each other down big time. Games that kids play every day. I thought he was going to twist himself off of the chair when he did his first body cape rapping Chiquilina Antigua. Damn, this comes close to being virtual reality. You thinking about that? Now he had switched to the muleta and was doing slow motion naturales with his right and left hands. Ole, ole, ole! I can't believe a bull would go for a red cape. The bull is colorblind. The cloth could be green or purple. He goes for the movement. That's why the bullfighter must be so still. He was talking to me and I was talking to him, but I could see that his attention was fixed on the bull. After a few spectacular spinning molinetes and 4 manolatinas, he was ready to try to kill the bull. He read the moment of truth instructions that scrolled across the bottom of the screen. That's nice, he mumbled as he made the bull's hooves parallel, gained the bull's complete attention and plunged forward for the kill, crossing over, leading the bull past his right thigh with the muleta and stabbing him into the bull's withers, pinchazo. The sword hit bone and popped out. Damn, I missed. But you didn't get gored. You got that programmed to this too? It's part of bullfighting. So that gives the game an element of danger. Correct. He lined the bull up again, took aim and plunged straight into the right place. His moment of truth had only lasted 3 minutes. He sat up straight as a stick as the bull sank to his knees. A jerky figure in black crept up behind the bull to slash the back of his neck, serve as a lifeline. Who was that? That man is called a pontillero. He gives the bull the coup de grace to prevent him from suffering too much. You might have to have some of these terms translated. I'm thinking about that, but I can tell you right now, I'm not too inclined to translate too much. When you go to a Japanese restaurant, they don't translate yakitori for you, or sashimi, or sushi. That's what it's called. And that's that.
Eat it.
He's smiling his ass off, pleased as he could be. You thought it all out, huh? Well, not completely. How long would it take to put a business plan together? About a month. I've already started working on one. He rubbed his clean-shaven chin and stared real hard at the screen for a long time. Chester, son, I think you got something here. Look, old man Gelman is at his home in the south of France, a place near Cannes. I'll wait until you finish the business plan and we'll fax it to him. Meanwhile, I'll throw a little bait out to him with a phone call, as a teaser. Old man Gelman? What's he got to do with this? Dad gave me that shrewd jailhouse learned look out of the corner of his eye. Old man Gelman is going to bankroll this. How much money do you think it would take to kick it off? I haven't figured that out yet. Well, figure it out. Gelman would be good for a mill or two easily, but he likes to know exactly where his money is going. One of the reasons why we've done so well together is because I don't try to cook the books, embezzle, cheat in any way. He pays me a decent salary and I'm straight up about things with him. What he's going to ask me first off is, Mr. Simmons, you believe in this? I'm going to say, yes, Mr. Gelman. It's not because this is your son, he's going to say. And I'll say, no, because it's a good idea, a good investment. In your business plan, if you can show him how he can keep on sunbathing in the south of France and gambling in Monte Carlo, he'll be willing to supply you at the capital. It wouldn't take a lot of effort to hire a couple more people here to retool a section of this place and we will be off and running. I felt my shoulders droop and my body sag a bit. I had been in such a state of tension for weeks. Old man Gelman, Dad's employer, my prospective angel. The business plan was on the way. I tried to keep Matador as close to my vest as possible, but I couldn't stop myself from sharing good news with Dondisha. That's a damn good idea, baby. Go for it. And of course, if Mom was told about the game, then Louise knew. And Louise had to tell her girlfriends. It didn't really matter all that much. It was going to go global anyway. I just didn't know how soon. A week later, 5 working days later, Dad came up behind me while I was putting a few more features into the game. Spoke to old man Gelman yesterday evening, laid the program out in front of me, and what did he ask me? Mr. Simmons, do you believe in this enterprise? Yes, Mr. Gelman, that's what I said to him. It's not because this is your son, is it? He asked me. No, it's not that at all. I think it's a damn good idea and a good thing for Gelman Tech to invest in. Very good. How soon can you send me the business plan? Very soon. Good, I'll look forward to it. Incidentally, me and Gertrude went to the bullfight at Nîmes, the border town between France and Spain last weekend. I didn't know you were a bullfight fan, Mr. Gelman. Lots of things you don't know about me, Mr. Simmons. I've been an aficionado for many years. Let's have a look at that business plan. Aside from this new development, how are things going otherwise? He didn't have to say another mumbling word. I stood up and we embraced and started doing a little soul waltz around the room. A few weeks later, we faxed the business plan to Mr. Morris Gelman. Chester, you can relax. Even if he digs a plan from the first sentence onward, he's going to take 10 days to reply. That's just the way he is. I had laid out a precise plan covering every base I could think of and some that Dondisha thought of. Is there any humor in the bullfight? You know, crazy shit. The opening package would cost at least $1 million. Dad suggested I pump it up to $1.5 million for the sake of contingencies. You never know what's going to happen when you go into a new area. So that was the business plan package we sent to Mr. Gelman. Exactly 10 days later, Mr. Gelman faxed a concise, well-crafted reply. I'm going on record in support of Matador Negro, a video game that was invented by Chester Simmons, Jr., and will be issued and distributed by Gelman Tech. I'll be sending my attorneys to meet with you to iron out all of the details. I'm only taking 10% cut of this pie in order to keep my capital gains within reason. I don't think I need to make more money at this stage of my life. I think I need to be in a position to give more away. My wife and I reached an agreement about this after my last heart attack. We went business, just like that. I found the whole thing hard to believe on one level, but then my sister Louise took it to another level by saying, "Oh, come on, Chester, you've been living out a fantasy life for years. That's why you wound up in Mexico fighting bulls for the first place." Chapter 20, Maya. Mom and Dad helped me form the Matador Corporation. Lots of stuff had to be done before we could step out. Patents, copyright, forms for this and that. The biggie for me was having a business account with $1.5 million in it. $1.5 million. I was chairman of the board. Mom and Dad were senior members of the corporation, and I persuaded Dondisha to do publicity and public relations. The truth of the matter is that I wanted to snatch her out of a kindergarten classroom and make some money with her. Mm-hmm. But Chester, you don't understand, baby. I like my job. I like teaching the munchkins. Fine, good, wonderful. Help me put this game over and we can start our own kindergarten. Maya, our communication had gotten a little spotty. Maybe it was my fault because I reached a point where I was just emailing some inane jive bullshit about the weather, the lakefront in Chicago, how nice everything was. And she was counter-responding with pretty much the same. Till one afternoon, I just simply decided to be a man about the situation. Me and Dondisha had bonded, no doubt about it. I mean, it had reached a point where we were finishing off each other's sentences and stuff like that. Dear Maya, as you know, I had this girlfriend in Chicago when I first met you. When I came back here, she was here for me. I'm not going to try to do some gauzy stuff about where things are. I'm just going to be straight up with us. It looks like this is the moment of truth for me, for us. I know that I'm not going to be begging you to come to Chicago anymore. It wouldn't make any sense and it wouldn't work. I'm sure you must know that I'm digging deep inside of myself to say what I'm saying, but I feel that I owe you this kind of honesty. I've gone into the video game business and seem to be taking off. I'm still into bullfighting as an art, but I've created a game that will allow me to repay you for your generosity. I hope you will be kind and not think of me in any kind of negative way. Please, let's remain friends, but please remember that I have committed my emotions to someone else. It was a very difficult email, I was shocked to get a response to my email hours later. Dear Azucar, I had to look back at who I had been. Your email explains a lot of things. I respect the relationship you have established with this woman in Chicago. I can only wish you the best. I hope you feel the same way about my relationship with Rodolfo Fuentes III. I had to take a deep breath. Well, I'll be damned. I hadn't been gone 2 years and I had been replaced. But it was about much more than that. Azucar, it is very difficult to tell a man, you must leave a place. It is very difficult to tell a man who must leave a place that you are pregnant. Trust me. Pregnant? The word flared up in front of me like a neon sign. Maya, pregnant? Fuentes is an unusual Mexican male. He accepted the idea of my pregnancy. And when I made it absolutely plain that it was your baby, not his, you didn't flinch. It is of you, Maya. It is of you. That is what's important to me. No matter how blasé I wanted to be about it, the idea of Maya having another man in her life was, well, a bit unsettling. I never expected the woman to remain celibate for the rest of her life or anything, but to receive info that Maya had my baby was a shock. What should I do? I think she solved the problem by explaining, please don't feel compelled to do anything. I can well afford a child, and I feel good about us. You came to me honestly, and I have been honest with you. So we have nothing to be ashamed of. Rodolfo is going to be an adoptive father, but there is no question about who the biological father is. It might mean in the years ahead that you will have the opportunity to meet this son of yours. I had the scan and they told me it was a boy growing inside of me. How you explain us to the woman who shares your life now is your own affair. Please feel free to communicate with me and always remember, we had quite a lot. Turn off the oven. Turn off the stove. I was in a strange kind of daze for a couple of days. A baby, a son with Maya. The most unexpected piece of news I have expected to have. I made a decision to keep this secret in my personal closet. No need to tell Dondisha anything about this. The day would come, but meanwhile, let sleeping dogs lie. Surprise, surprise. As a P.S., Maya let me know that she and Senor Fuentes had a daughter too. We thought that our son Juan needed company. We had a small, very intimate wedding. Dondisha, Phillips, Simmons, and me. Mom and Dad, Louise for me. And Dondisha's mother and father bust up from Mississippi. A few close friends. Why didn't they fly? They're country folks, Chester. Flying is for the birds as far as they're concerned. Let me tell the truth. I think that I asked Dondisha to marry me for my mother's sake more than anything else. But it doesn't matter now. It was one of the best decisions I ever made. It took almost 3 years for the video game Matador Negro to find its place in the marketplace. But when it did, it went through the roof. I repaid Maya, and I've taken a couple of quick trips to Mexico to see my son, Juan Fuentes. He's 6 years old now, and according to Maya, he's already crazy about the bullfight. I'm afraid I'll have to keep little Juan a secret until this book is published, and then I'll tell Dondisha the whole story. I don't think we'll have a problem. She's quite mellow now. Money helps. Oddly enough, it was old man Gelman's idea to write a book about how I got into bullfighting, my short, unhappy relationship with Senor Flores, the cultural foundation of the corrida. I was not totally surprised to read that Senor Miguel Flores had been machine gunned to death by a rival drug cartel in downtown Culiacan.
Ooh.
Play with the bull, and sooner or later you get the horn. Chester, I think it would make fascinating reading. In addition, as the creator of Matador Negro, it might do a lot to help boost sales of the video game. I agree. Furthermore, he suggested, why not bring it out in Spanish first? Because that's where your major markets are. I just happen to know Salvador Catalan, the owner, CEO of Libros Catalan. I think Libros would be the Spanish equivalent of Random House or Little and Brown. One of those places. What do you think? I'd never thought about a book about my life as a bullfighter, but I could definitely see his point. Shrewd old dude, Mr. Gelman. I could easily understand how he got to be rich. He had a great imagination, and he was willing to back up his ideas with cash. Aside from that, he wasn't all up in your butt, breathing down your neck. All he wanted from me was his 10% and a fair shot at any other games I would come up with. One day I received a registered letter to Chester Simmons from Dear Juan Negro, Azucar. Please allow me to introduce myself. I am Francisco Obregon, manager, promoter, entrepreneur. Your video game, Matador Negro, compels me to contact you. I think it is a wonderful piece of work, but that is not the only reason why I'm contacting you. I am of the opinion that your returns to the bull ring would be a great financial and artistic success. Indeed, I can say to you, Matador, that the afición hungers for your return. I am aware of some of the difficulties that you experience with Don Miguel Flores, and I can assure you that we would not be troubled by such matters with me. Please reply at your convenience, but remember, the afición eagerly awaits the return of Juan Negro Azucar.
Ooh.
No need to bullshit about it. The letter caught me off balance, had me feeling that urge to hear the old ladies experience the excitement of fighting again. I was still young enough, still had the nerve and the equipment to do it. I knew I could. I went around for a few days with the memory of what I was, what I had done, sloshing around my brain. I was still in a serious maybe mode when I emailed Francisco Obregon, manager, promoter, entrepreneur. I would like to speak with Ricardo Ortega Nacho before I make my decision concerning your proposal. Please send me an address or email for him. Gracias, Juan Negro Azucar. A day later, I was absolutely stunned to read. Unfortunately, Ricardo Ortega Nacho was shot dead in Culiacan last year. It had something to do with drugs. We are still eagerly awaiting your positive response to our note. I can give you my personal assurance that we will give you the best possible representation. I remain Francisco Obregon, manager, promoter, entrepreneur. I was pushed out of the maybe mode by this unwelcome news of Nacho's death. It's really hard for me to process the idea that my former teacher, my friend, was dead. But there was a proverb that he used to say that stuck with me, that put the clincher on my thanks but no thanks note to Senor Obregon. Remember, Azucar, the fire you want to go back to is always ashes. I thought Matador Negro was going to be it for me, the video game of my lifetime, till me and Dondisha went to Ghana for our honeymoon. It was May, the beginning of the rainy season, hot and humid. We pulled into one of the local bars they seem to have all over the place. This was in a section of our crowd called Osu. I think we could use a couple of cold beers. We weren't drinkers, but some folks who had been there told us, drink beer, it's safer than water. The drinking bar was called the Salena Bar, and the beer was cold and served in frosted glasses. Delicious. While we were chilling, Dondisha glanced through the wooden slats of the window next to our table. There was a vacant lot shaded by a huge tree. Just a look. A small circle of Ghanaian schoolgirls in their brown and egg yellow uniforms was playing some kind of footsie game. They did a rhythmic clapping, and then two of the girls would jump up and down, and suddenly one or the other would land and slide one foot or the other toward the other one. We couldn't make heads or tails of the thing. What was it called? Did they keep score? What was the point of the game? We called the bar owner over. Madame, can you explain this to me? What is it called? Oh, this one is called Ampe. All of the schoolgirls play it. Only schoolgirls? Only schoolgirls. After the buds are gone, no one wants to bounce up and down. Are you getting me? She winked at Dondisha. Dondisha winked back. I get it. It was very easy to give us the name of the game and who did it, but hard as hell to explain the point system. It made as much sense to me as the scoring of a cricket game. It didn't really matter whether I understood it or not. The important thing was to put it out there. I hired Madame Betty Cote, owner of the Salena Bar, as the technical consultant for our Ghana MP video game on the spot. The Matador Negro Corporation had become a boutique game operation. I jumped from MP to Wari, the board with the scoops, marbles, counter game, straight into Capoeira Angola. I pulled Master Eve and Master Cedric in as technical consultants for the Angola game. 26 years old, in the middle of the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression, somebody told me. Maybe that has something to do with the people buying Matador Negro in Mexico, Spain, Venezuela, Peru, and Japan, a game they could play at home. For some crazy reason, MP caught on big in Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Scandinavia. Mr. Gelman thought it had something to do with the African girls bouncing up and down. We hadn't created any 38 C cups or anything that obvious, but we had tweaked the bus lines up just a bit. Madame Cote gave her approval. I think this is very clever and also good for business. Wari maintained a profile, but it didn't break any records. It's hard to say why. But the Angola game hit big, especially in Brazil. That was kind of puzzling because we thought, with its history of Capoeira Angola, that they wouldn't be too receptive to a video game about the game. Our marketing people scratched their heads about it for a while. We sent Master Eve and Master Cedric down to Bahia, to the core, to see what the deal was. They came back with a surprising number of angles. It seems that a lot of the young people, even the ones who are doing Angola, play the game because they see that it helps to improve their physical game. Same thing for the older set. It seems that they're using the game as a sort of testing ground for techniques and stuff. And finally, at the end of the day, it's technology, and they love technology. Huh. How interesting. Leo Anderson, a.k.a. Raul, came into the lobby of our condo with a copy of Matador Negro Azucar, tucked under his armpit. We had a grand reunion. He had 5 days in town before he whizzed off to Japan. He stayed with us. Japan? Oh, yes, indeed. The Japanese love the tango, and our Argentine tango group is going to give it to them right between the eyes. Chicago in the spring can be pure magic. We took him to the Club Argentine and turned him loose. Raul had it, that glow aura that some people have who have developed their art to a peak. I sat back and watched Raul dance with Dondisha, and it was a command performance. I know he was shocked at the new Dondisha, at her movements, her flow. This was the girl he had once called clumsy. The Club Argentine wouldn't let us leave until they closed at 4. Raul danced everybody to the ground. And after the club, a walk along the point at 57th Street on the lakefront. Dondisha, poor baby, stretched out in the back seat of the car. Go ahead on, walk. I'm going to take a nap. Don't worry, we won't be too far from the car. She gave me a small smile. Don't worry, baby. If anybody tries to get up in here with me, they're going to have 130 pounds of capoeira Angola in their nuts. We strolled, not saying anything, for a few yards. Chester, I really dug your book, man. Maria found it in our local bookstore. I was really puzzled to see it in Spanish first. That was a business decision. My advisors thought it would reach a more receptive market in Spanish. And then we had Zola Salena, the artist, the linguist, do the translation. Beautiful job. I like the fact that she didn't try to jazz it up with a lot of hip shit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, in some ways, I think she improved on what I was trying to say. I know Dondisha read it a half dozen times. Now did she take the part about Maya and the baby? She was cool. We had little talks, you know, about lots of real things before we got married. So how's it with you? You found that ultimate tango partner yet? Not yet, my brother, not yet. I'm still taking applications. And I'm in no great hurry to put anybody in the main slot yet. The sun was slowly rising up on the lake horizon. It looked like a giant lollipop. Did you ever think we'd be able to pull this off? You mean with the bulls and me with the tango coming straight off the south side? I nodded. The sky was opening like a beautiful blue cloudy tapestry. I would have to say yes, yes. I can't answer why I would have to say yes, but it just seemed like we had no alternative. That's what we had decided to do. We turned to retrace our steps back to the car. So you've retired from bullfighting. You think about going back into it? I did for a while. After Senor Flores was gunned down, but I decided I'd had enough. I lit my fire, I poured olive oil into my skillet, and I cooked. For one great season, enough time to live a part of my dream. I think that's what it's all about, living your dream. I gotta agree with you. I think you did a wise thing. I think I would have given up the tango long ago if I'd run into a partner with horns. We laughed and draped our arms across each other's shoulders. Dondisha, had taken a nap, was outside of the car doing stretches. Raul, you're on your way to Japan. For how long? 6 weeks, Tokyo, Yokohama, Kamakura, here and there. While you're there, think about a market for the tango video game. I'll make you the technical consultant. Boy, I'll get on it as soon as I get there. I looked back over my shoulder at the sun. Yeah, I lit my fire. I poured olive oil into my skillet and I cooked. And I still had a lot more fish to fry. Meanwhile, Dondisha has just informed me that she has twins baking in the oven. Looks like we'll be starting our own kindergarten pretty soon. And there you have the end of Matador Negro, Azucar.
Matador Negro,
The cover is by Tony Gleason with his good drawing self.
And turn it over.
The back one is Nima Aspar.
Nimas Bar. Okay.
Ah, my goodness. The book can be purchased anywhere fine books are sold, but there are other places that you might know about.
Well, it can be purchased at Barnes and Noble, Amazon, yes, and at Author House. Also, a person can go into a regular bookstore.
How about the south side of Chicago? How about the University of Chicago bookstore?
I'm sure if you go in, ask them if they would order it.
Chicago, and the thing is Chicago-based.
This is true.
There must be a real market for that there.
It may be there.
If I sell a lot of books in Chicago, just think, I'll be able to move farther away from Chicago.
Perhaps. But again, you can go to your local bookstore or even yourself, go online, pull up Matador Negro, Azucar, and purchase a copy written by Odie Hawkins. Also, Matador, Negro, Azucar 2 has a whole bunch of surprises because there's more to the story than has been read just now.
Yes, always more to the story. That is the source of the dripping drama.
Ashe.